Hello. I want to talk more about this concept of APhD, which is like a acronym pun of ADHD and PhD, in case you didn't get that. I find that with specifically ADHD, there are many effects that it has on lab work. Um, and there are two that I've noticed recurring for me this week and in recent weeks as well. One of which is sometimes when I'm pipetting, I will pick up a pipette tip and then kind of my mind will go blank and go somewhere else. And then when I return, I forget whether I've used it or not. So I just throw it out without, like, just because there's no way to know whether it's touched something. It's my mind is has forgotten, so I can't control that. And the other, that's like kind of that's a challenge. It's not a real challenge, but it's a little bit frustrating because it's wasteful and you want to try to do things efficiently, but sometimes you zone out. And on the other side of things, if you have a task that you need to get done that normally you do slowly, like for example, a gradient in the PCR where you have 16 samples and you have to prep all of them in 30 minutes, and you've never done something like that before. ADHD allows you to be effective and do that properly and quickly under time pressure, which is interesting and counterintuitive with the other example, I think. But additionally, in the lab, is the issue of dopamine and task completion. So I like to think of tasks as like a game where it's about accomplishing the task and maybe doing an experiment where you are trying to optimize your PCR or your gel outcome, or you're just trying to do the task more effectively than you did it previously. But it's relative, so you're not actually concerned with the outcome of the task itself. And you also need to pay attention to anything that you notice or learn, because even the littlest thing that you notice or learn while repeating a task makes it much more satisfying than regardless of the outcome. And in addition to this, there's the idea of working in groups with people or have it with like a mentor, like my mentor Alejandro. Um, we do a lot of things sort of together where I help, and whenever he has success, we celebrate as a team. But it definitely generates more dopamine when you dopamine release, when you feel like you had a major contribution or did something all by yourself. But, especially the latter is very uncommon in science. Um, for example, we made a potentially successful gel, which I currently have as my background on LinkedIn. And Alejandro poured the gel, he pipetted the DNA into the gel, and the DNA that went into the gel was assembled plasmids from his assembly process, and his previous PCRs, all from his uh, DNA purification, extraction processes, and etc. Because all of my fragment amplifications failed, as far as I know. So then I did plate the bacteria to grow overnight and be harvested on the gel. Just because we did a special colony PCR in order to assemble this plasmid, um, or express it for, in order to, it's already assembled, but in order to express it for gel visualization. But he was busy, so he asked me to plate it, and he could have done it, but I was helping, and that's like I would consider that a minor contribution to this effort. Um, but the lab is the kind of place where little things add up, and the little things aren't always exactly as they seem. It depends on your perspective. I think you need to embrace your mental faults, and as well as the Sisyphean repetition that comes with them. So that's a takeaway from this week. In other news, Pico Quant training is starting next week. That's a device, a laser device used to characterize the proteins optically. So I'm excited for that. And maybe that will be something interesting to talk about. I have no idea. But otherwise, thank you for watching.